Now, when you're building a WordPress website, chances are when you're designing things for yourself, you're going to kind of go through the same repetitive process, the same kind of headers, footer designs, content designs, and so on. So any way we can speed that up has got to be a good thing. And that's what we're going to look at today. I'm going to show you Skelementor. Now, Skelementor is a range or collection of pre-built wireframe templates that we can use at this point in time for absolutely zero cost. Now, before we go any further, a quick shout out to Imran from Web Squadron for just pointing this out to me. I think this is a great resource. Check out his video where he's going to go into more detail than I will about various aspects of this. I'm simply going to show you how you can use this to rapidly build your own custom blog. Now, this isn't going to be all about fantastic design and all those global things. This is showing you how to very quickly use these options to quickly design something, and then you can spend time finessing it to get exactly what you want out of your design. So let's take a look at how we get things all working. Start off with, this is what we're working with. This is plain old hello with some basic styling in place, and as you can see, it looks absolutely terrible, although the food does kind of make me a little bit peckish. So this is where we are to start off with. We take a look at an individual post. You can see it all kind of looks a little bit rubbish. So let's go and address that now. If we take a look at the Skelementor website, on the left-hand side, you can see all of the different sections of all the different wireframe templates we can tap into. For example, let's say we want to do our header and footer first, and we'll set those up globally. All we need to do is hop into the header section or navbar, whichever you kind of want to use. And in there, you can see we now have a range of pre-built layouts we can call upon, including mega menus. So if you want something like that, you have access to it. There's a lot of great looking starting point designs inside here, and this is the thing to take into consideration. These are starter points. They don't have to stay exactly as they are, and we'll see how easy it is to modify aspects of this as we move forward. Let's say though we want to keep this really super simple, and we like the look of this navbar too. All we need to do is click on copy, and that will then go and copy everything we need. As you see, it says copy to clipboard. Now, before we go any further, you do need to sign up for a free account to get access to the copy option, but it is totally free, no cost at all. Okay, so we've copied that. All we need to do is hop over now and create our template, and we can paste this design in. So we're inside Elementor, inside the theme setup or the theme builder. We're going to come over and choose to add a new header. We'll close this down. We're going to create our own. And all we need to do now is right click inside this area where we can drag our widgets and so on, and choose the option for paste from other site. Once you do that, it tells us we now have to use the keyboard shortcut. So we'll do that, Control or Command V. After a moment, you can see that's now pasted everything into our template. Let's pull the navigator over to the right-hand side and see what's going on. You can see everything is used in the container, so you do have to have the container enabled to be able to use these. And inside there, you can see everything is broken down into a pretty simple and logical setup. All we need to do now is customize this the way that we want it to look. So for example, we obviously don't want this Skelementor image, so we'll delete that from there. We'll click plus and we'll choose our logo. We'll insert our logo, and you can see there's our logo. We can customize all the options like you normally expect. Same thing goes for our navigation. So we'll select our navigation block. We'll choose our menu that we've created previously. Again, just a standard menu inside WordPress. That's pulled everything inside there. The button is the same. So we'll change the text on here. Set that to be subscribe, and obviously we can customize every aspect. So for example, I want to come in and choose my WordPress menu, and we can come into the style section, into our typography, and use one of our global styles. We can do the same then for the button if we want to, or we can set all these up inside the global styling. Obviously that's going to be the quicker and easier way to work. While we're inside the settings, let's just come to our button and set a border radius on there. We'll set this to be something like 4 pixels all the way around to kind of round those edges off a little bit. And we've now created the starting point. I'm going to choose our container, and I don't want this black line underneath there, so we'll come into our style, into our border. We'll set our border to be none and remove anything from there. So now we've created our header. Let's click on publish, set our condition to have this the entire site, save and close. We've now created our custom header. Now if we refresh our page, there's our header in place. Now before moving on, here's a quick message from today's video sponsor, Hostinger. Kickstart your WordPress journey with Hostinger's high-performance hosting solutions and 24/7 chat support. You can ensure your site shines bright with plans to suit every need. Plans include free SSL, free domain, a supercharged CDN, and automated backups. Right now, you can grab up to 81% off your hosting plan. Plus, you can experiment safely with their WordPress staging tools, backup with a click, and let their WordPress AI help you out where needed. All starting at just $249 a month. Now, discover more via the link in the description below. With Hostinger, find the perfect plan for you today. So let's move on now to the footer using the same kind of process. We choose the footer section inside Skelementor. We're going to use something really clean and simple like this one. Again, we'll just copy this, come back into our theme builder, choose to insert a footer template, close this down, and simply go and right click, paste on the site, Control or Command V. There's our footer in place. Again, we can select our navigation block if we want to, set this to use our own custom menu, or set up whatever menu we want inside there. So we can customize all the aspects of this. Again, we'll hit publish, add our condition in, and the entire site is perfectly fine. So our basic templates are now in place. Our header and our footer are there. So we're going to tackle two more different sections. We're going to tackle the archive, and we're going to tackle the single post. This is kind of a basic blog, but the process is going to be the same no matter what you want to create when it comes to the templates, and if you want to use Skelementor. So let's start by creating our single post. So like we see before, we'll click to create a single post. We'll close these down, and we now have everything ready to put our kind of building block pieces in. For this section, we're going to come into the hero sections and find a hero that I like. Now you can sub-filter these if you want to, choosing how many columns you want, the position of the image, if you want to use image, videos, those kinds of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly scroll through until I find something that I like the look of. I quite like the look of this one, so we're going to copy this, head back into our template and do the same again. Paste it on the site and Control Command V. And now that's placed in the content from this wireframe. Now, obviously, this isn't what we want. We just want the structure. So again, taking a look at the right-hand side, you can see there's our structure, there's our image, and so on. So we're now going to reference some dynamic data using Elementor Pro's dynamic options. So with the image selected, we'll come over, we'll delete the image that's inside there, and we'll choose the dynamic tags. And from there, we'll choose featured image. So there's our featured image in place, and again, you can customize this how you want to. Now, obviously, we want to change the content here, so we're going to use the same process again. We'll select this left-hand section, click the dynamic tags option, and from there, we're going to just choose the option for our post title. While we're in here, we can go into our style. We're going to select our typography and set this to be primary. And obviously we want to make sure this is set to the right styling and so on. So H2 is perfectly fine. And we can customize this. Again, you would probably want to use the global styling for this to speed everything up. I just want to show you very quickly how you can get up and running. So let's set this to be rems. And let's set this to be something like 6 rem. That's probably a bit too big. Let's try 4.5. There we go. That's pretty good. Next up, we're going to come over to the right-hand section. And from there, we're going to do the same again. Dynamic tags. This time, we're going to choose the option for post excerpt. We're going to leave everything set as it is as normal. We're going to click the little wrench icon, set our excerpt length, and we're going to say this is going to be something like 40 words. And we'll say apply to post content just in case we haven't created any custom excerpt. And then again, we can come in and we can style this using typography and so on. And we don't want the buttons inside here, so let's go and just select those and hit delete to get rid of them. There we go. So we've now customized the sort of hero section. Now what we can do is we can just carry on building and we can use any kind of options we want. So for this, we're going to mix and match between the Skelementor wireframe templates, which we've customized, and also just using the native functions inside Elementor. So let's come back over. From there, we're going to just go and insert a container. We'll use the flex box. And now we're just going to put in the widgets that we want. For this, we want to put the post content in, so we'll drag that into our design. There's our post content. We'll come in to our container and we'll customize this a little bit. So we're going to set the width on here to be 800. I kind of like the look of that. And now, if we want to, we can just come back out of here and we'll say we want to put social sharing in, for example. So we'll say we want to put share buttons underneath there. And finally, we'll come in and we'll say we want to allow comments. So we'll use the post comments option and we'll pop that underneath there as well. And again, we can customize all of this if we want to. We can control every aspect that we want. One final thing I want to do is come over and we're going to choose the option for our post info and pop that underneath our excerpt. So this will now allow us to kind of get some more information, and we can delete anything we don't want. We can reposition it if we think it looks better above the text. There we go. So we've kind of customized the whole look of this. Now click on publish. Add our condition, and we're going to say all singular is fine, but obviously you can filter this down to posts and so on. But we'll leave it at all singular for this example because this is just a blog example. Hit save and close, and we've now created what we want. Now, before we go any further, let me just select this top section, and we're just going to put a little bit of separation kind of color on there. So we come into our style, come into our background, select a color from here. We're just going to select a really really subtle gray kind of color. And we'll select our container underneath and add a little bit of space inside there. And now we have our customized single post template. Let's take a look at this in action. So this is what we started off with. Again, let's just reload this. And this is what we have now. A considerably better looking setup, all totally customized and customizable, including the fact that it's available and set up to work great when it comes to mobile, so you don't have to worry about dealing with the responsive side of things. So now we've done that, let's go and tackle the category section. In other words, our archive. As you can see, it looks particularly ugly. Let's deal with that next. For this, we're going to use one of the header sections. We'll choose header sections from our categories on the left-hand side, scroll through until we find something we like. Let's take something simple like this black and white header. We'll copy it. Let's go and create our archive. Close these down, and like we've done several times, let's go and put that template element in. Now obviously again, this is taking in data that we don't actually want, and this is the thing to kind of consider. If you're using Elementor Pro alongside Skelementor, you can easily replace any of these with dynamic data in a matter of seconds. So first of all, we don't want this sort of subtext, so let's delete that. Let's choose our heading, and from there we're going to select the dynamic tags option, and we're going to come down to the archive, and we want to put in the archive title. Now also you can put other things inside here should you want to. And again, we're going to come in and we're going to set our styling. Set this to be our primary typography and bump the size up, setting it to rem. And let's again try something like 4 for this example. That looks pretty good. So now we have a custom header. You want to drop a background image in? You can do something like that as well. So we can select our container, come into style, choose our background. I've got a couple of SVGs uploaded, and you can see there we go. So we now have a background color in there and a background image, all looking pretty good so far. And now what we can do is, like we saw before, we could easily start adding extra content in. So let's add a new element, choose Flexbox, choose exactly what we want, make a bit of space for this, come back to our widgets, search for post. And now we can use the post function, or we can use the loop grid. Now, generally, I would design with the loop grid, and I've covered that in its own dedicated video, which I'll link in the description below. For brevity, not to waste your time, we're going to just use the posts widget. Drop that inside there, customize it a little bit. We'll say we want cards. We'll set it to be 2 columns. We'll update the image size a little bit, and we'll get rid of any of the things that we don't want. So, for example, we don't want the avatar on there, and maybe we don't want things like the read more and so on. So we just disable anything we don't want, and we'll come into the excerpt and we'll set this to be something like 40, just to kind of cut things back. And now we'll click on publish, add our condition, and we'll say all archives, but again, you can filter this down to just post archives, categories, whatever you want. We'll leave it set to all and hit save and close. And now let's go and test everything out. Let's refresh our page, and now you can see we have our customized layout all set up. And you can see there's our custom header pulling in the main meals in this example. And now all we need to do is click to go into any of these, and you can see that pulls in our custom template with our comments, with our share options, with our custom footer and header. And as you can see, in a matter of about 10 minutes, we've got a blog with a custom design all set up that we can now spend a little bit more time refining, but we haven't had to go through the time and effort of creating these typical header sections, hero sections, footer sections, those kinds of things. We can focus on just building everything rapidly. Great if you want to test something out for yourself, or if you want to kind of wireframe something up to share with a potential client. This is a really good option. So thank you again, Imran from Web Squadron, for bringing this to my attention. If you want more information about any of these options, they're all linked in the description down below. As always, my name is Paul C. This is WPTuts, and until next time, take care.